First day of Christmas, T10 sent to me. Chance and Anthony.
Christmas doesn't have to be cringe, and there are very few 9th or 10th generation games that actually cater for the festive season. I am Couch Coop, and we're going to look at the only one that isn't Christian educational shareware.
3, Jake Bautista.
Dead Rising 4, Frank's Big Package, came out in 2017, and it's one of 16 Dead Rising games, the majority of which came out on Xbox 360. Modern Sony systems didn't really get a good look in with the series, so this was my entry level, and I almost got into the early Dead Risings on the 360 and the original Xbox machines. It was never a series I got the chance to spend a lot of time with, which is surprising because it's got zombies in it and it's from Capcom, but it was Frank and his personality that you would have heard of prior to playing these games.
This is some atrocity level shit going on here, and the best you can do is crack wise.
Frank's persona was huge. He appeared in other games, Marvel vs. Capcom, and that camera, that attire, and his whole attitude came hand in hand with the vast amount of zombies and the mall setup that this game traditionally adhered to. I have spoken about this game before. It got a standalone review on my PlayStation Pro about 5 years ago, and this song in the background of this intro, which is excellent, it's a cover of Oh Christmas Tree, long, drawn out, slightly dark. It got caught on the monetization, so I'm not going to fall into that trap. I've read about 20 to 25 on-the-spot reviews of this game when it came out in 2017. It got absolutely slated. Now, two things happened. Most of the people that reviewed the game were heavily into the previous titles, and this is seriously streamlined. Dumbed down is the wrong word. A lot of the skill points and directions that you can take Frank in have been reduced, and this annoyed a lot of people. But for me, it was my first look at this amount of zombies on screen at the same time, the idea of being in a commercial derelict mall, the idea of all of the outfits, all of the interchangeable weapons, and just the vast amount of enemies you have to cope with. It was all new to me, and I didn't have anything like this on my PlayStation 4. Cut to World War Z. So let's just cover that selling point quickly. The Dead Rising series is famous for massive amounts of zombies on screen, being sort of set in a mall, almost George Romero style, and it has like shambling zombies that don't actually make beelines for you. They kind of have quite a small detection circle, so you can mill around and get in between these things. You don't always have to instigate a fight. One of the big sellers was constructing and making weapons on the fly from mundane objects and turn them into sort of badass machines. We've got fireworks on a crossbow here, but it really doesn't end there. The more normal an object is, like a TV monitor or a Christmas cracker, could turn out to be some sort of napalm delivering handheld weapon. The next thing are the outfits. So Frank's Big Package kind of includes all of the cosmetic DLC and some of the extra game modes. There's this weird golf thing going on, and you can play as some iconic Capcom characters and even sport some of their moves. But it's the bedrock main story that I'm interested in, because it takes you on this pretty damn crazy journey. The other main seller is of course the vehicles, and what you're seeing here, two tiers of vehicles: internals like Segways and little kids bikes and toy cars, right up to like Mustangs and forklifts when you get outside in the latter stages of the game. The sort of final stage is the attire and making Frank look like his surroundings. You might be in a fire station and find a fire suit. You might want to dress up as a skier because you're using one of the poles to impale zombies. You get really into zombie massacre roleplay, and I think that's one of the reasons the series is so famous. And that's why I showed that iconic yellow mask, because you can put masks on the zombies, they wander around looking ridiculous. The whole thing's quite a cool feedback loop. One of the things picked up in the older reviews from 2017 was that the NPCs, or maniacs, or like doomsdayers, these are characters who have hauled up or have gone a bit crazy. They act like sort of mid-tier mini-bosses, have been made a little bit bullet spongy. They don't really say too much funny stuff, and that I don't have any experience with. What I have come across, some of the role-playing medieval ones and Father Christmas himself, I wasn't too unimpressed with. What does it run at on the PlayStation 5? Well, it's 1080 and 30 frames per second. But as you can see, those 30 frames look pretty cool. And to have over 150 zombies within map or close to you and not affect any of the frame rates at all is pretty amazing. I remember the Pro version having a bit of panic when every pixel on screen has got a zombie in it. With this, it's completely perfect. Let's just shimmy back to that weapon thing very quickly. This game promotes a little bit like Dying Light does, or any of those other zombie basher games, Dead Island, melee weapons or close quarters weapons. It does have huge amounts of military combat hardware in it, like bullpups and shotguns and assault rifles, but it really wants to promote that hack and slash killing of mass zombies with your own bare hands, so to speak. So why was this slated so bad? It looks like it includes all of the stuff that made the Dead Rising series famous and good. I think it's one of two things. I'm brand new, so to speak, to the series, so all of this is new and impressive to me. Everyone that reviewed it was like die-hard Dead Rising fans, so they were ultimately disappointed in just a rinse and repeat of older systems and maybe not much spectrum on upgrading Frank and giving him cool new special moves. As far as the variation on weapon and construction and grenades, flamethrowers, and that amazing mech style suit goes, I'm really impressed with this game. One of the things that stood out on every single review was that Frank's rhetoric, Frank's answers, or misogyny, or just dumbness in dialogue was something that really put them off. And it felt shallow, and he was not a character they wanted to get behind. Here's the thing. 2017, those sorts of characters obviously were quite common. We also had a massive drought of this direction, and now when you listen to Frank, even in this game, he just sounds hilarious, really fresh. You don't hear writing like this anymore with male characters. It's a total blast. I loved it.
Your mother was a gopher and your father smells of body spray.
Hey, open up so I can teach this old fart a lesson.
You're not supposed to be 200% behind a protagonist, and if some annoying character's put into a situation that's bad or dire, then their reactions should supply amusement in that direction, not disdain. And that was the problem with a lot of the reviews. Also, I don't think they quite realised how much of a creative drought we were going to be in 2023. And if you've never played a Dead Rising game, this is so great to dip your toe into, because you're just going to see all of it at very high specs for the series. I think this is one of the best places to play Frank's big package over on the PlayStation 5. There might be some high spec PC versions that I'm not aware of, but I was very happy both with the performance, mechanics and dialogue of this game. Frank's actually an investigative journalist, and he has a camera with him permanently, and they've dovetailed sort of good versus evil, taken pictures of everything into the gameplay model. This was always existing in the older games. The more zombies you could take a picture of, or of a situation, you get experience points for it. And they've used it for some of the missions. They put night vision in and a special sort of technology spec in. It doesn't work for me. I'd much rather just have the sort of gameplay you're seeing here, but you do get pulled into sort of detective style sections, which is kind of a pleasant break to some of the massacring you're seeing on screen at the moment. that mech suit is dropped at random spots. Well, they're not random. What I mean is you can't bring it up when you want. There'll be a particular box in a situation where it's best utilized. You can't just bring it on whenever you want. There's also a whole set of furniture and weapons and items that can only be accessed through the mech suit. I'm calling it a mech suit. It's not really Armored Core 6, but you get what I'm saying here. It's also timed. You can see it running out there. It's nice to exploit. It does feel a little bit OP. That's another thing that the reviewers said, that this game seemed a little bit easy. I think the story may have also ruffled the feathers of some of those die-hard fans, giving you no real standout NPCs and just bog standard walk around, take pictures, go to the next area. The game is split up into cases, and the first case in the mall is so worth looking at. I would entry price that alone. If this game was only that level and the cheapness of what this is available at the moment, that's a no-brainer. All the other areas are vastly larger, and it does try and sport a sort of open world mission structure, having you come across random events or encounters where people are trapped and you have to rescue them, and this will turn will give you a really cool piece of loot, or more importantly a blueprint. That's what keeps me going, finding new blueprints, finding new vehicles, outfits, and using all of the aforementioned at once against a massive horde of zombies. The element system, be it electricity, fire or even acid, is brilliantly integrated into the weapon types and the effects they have on the zombies. That's a really major pull, is designing or putting something together or even buying a pretty cool weapon or vehicle and then using it against the horde is too much fun, and that is basically what this game is all about for me. Not so much the plot or the NPCs, it's really all about that change up with outfit, weapon and area that keeps me coming back to it, because I put this on every year. There's no other game that lets you kick the crap out of Santa's little helpers and then go at him with a chainsaw and electricity baton. It really does warm the cockles festively for me.
Ho flippin' ho!
I did also want to mention that this series is dead. This game killed it, and there's been no rumours or remakes, and I would love to see some of those earlier games put back onto 10th generation systems. Thinking about it now, there is just nothing out there that caters for zombie butchery and festive fun. This is perfectly blended, and that's the reason I stick it on every year. Also, the pause menu's got the most amazing jazz covers of good Christmas songs. Do you know what I mean? They're not cheesy, it's really good background music. It goes on most Christmas days, to be fair. What annoys me about the game is that it loves its nighttime and staying without any sort of decent rays or contrasting colour, which is fine. It's spooky, you know, zombies, nighttime, mist, full moons. But when it starts getting sunlight and you get outside and you really start seeing some of the colours and textures, it's a very pretty game, and I'm quite impressed with how it runs. It also had some sort of patch on installation, about 1.9 gig, and I was secretly hoping that this might be a sort of 10th gen patch, or even, lo and behold, go on the SSD, but nothing like that, unfortunately. It's also a little bit glitchy still. This was funny, but I don't like spending my money in this game. I just hoard it. I got like 23 grand because I'd rather just find things and put them together myself. But it does offer you a vendor opportunity to buy some mean ass vehicle. Check this out.
Here you go.
Whoops! Ah, shit!
Not to worry, old Moneybags Coop brought another one, even more devastating. I love the design of this. It's basically half a tractor with like a combine harvester blades on the front. The innovation is spectacular. It comes with a boost, it comes with 3 methods of firing, and I nearly got stuck coming out the gate with this one. Do I recommend this game as a festive zombie shooter slash slasher? Yes, massively, really good. Name me another game that takes Christmas this seriously and embeds it through its entire game model. I'm not talking about a DLC hat. As a zombie horde game, however, I would not recommend it. Also against the previous Dead Risings. You've got stuff like World War Z, previously mentioned, Back 4 Blood. I've made lists. You've even got Cold War, which exists on split screen. But this is a great little muckabout and a perfect stocking filler. It's not expensive. I will put my Patreon in the link. You guys have a great Christmas. I will see you down there.
Didn't it